All right, I wanted to do a quick update on CLOV. I haven't been making as many of these videos because I've been doing the live stream, but then it kind of dawned on me that not everyone's watching the live stream. So I kind of wanted to do a short update on CLOV fundamentally and also on the short squeeze potential and everything that we've talked about in the past. So one, I'll say this, CLOV's not over. I've seen some posts online that are like, oh, well, clove, the squeeze already happened and all this. No, that was a gamma squeeze, and I've explained before. When you see these run ups, like it ran up to $28, that was all options induced. And then as people take profits, it has a reverse effect. So the options chain is going to push the price back down. I did do a video explaining how a gamma squeeze works in the past if you want to check it out. But basically, what we've been doing now is kind of just consolidating, and I'll go over the charts briefly in a little bit. Um, but we've kind of been trading in this range right around $12, $12 to $13. It seems like every Friday, we're getting that downward pressure, trying to suppress the price and keep it below 13. The max pain number for this week is also 13, so I'd imagine that they're going to try to suppress the price and keep it that low, but I don't know how successful they're going to be. Um, you know, Before I even get into the short squeeze stuff, just fundamentally, CLOV. If you watched my previous video that I did, I was kind of summarizing, some work from Living It, who actually he posted on the CLOV subreddit what he thought the current price target has been. And I had talked to him about it and basically summarized it in one of my previous videos. I think it was called CLOV, not just a squeeze play. But basically, at the time, CLOV was operating in 12 states, and I believe somewhere around 109 counties or somewhere around that number. But basically, based on the number of contracts that they had at the time, um, he came up with a per patient valuation for the stock. Stocks trading at this much. This is the market cap divided by the amount of patients that they have, the contracts they have, and he came out with the number. Well, since then, CLOV just moved into one additional state and almost doubled the amount of counties that it's in now. I think it's at like 209 now. So basically, they've expanded and doubled, where they're working at. So if you just took it off that and just went off their current per patient valuation, once they kind of announce how many patients they have and all that kind of stuff, I would imagine that would probably move the stock up a little bit. But just based off their expansion and doubling, their market size, this stock should basically probably be trading around $30, not even including the higher valuation that I gave in my previous video. So I think just the doubling that it did should probably put it at about double what it's trading at now, which would be somewhere in the $26 to $30 range. But then if you go off of the reasoning why I had originally gave the $20 to $27 price target, which was based off of the work of Living Its post on the CLOV subreddit. Basically, if you can hit those numbers and then say, okay, now they've doubled and expanded, now we're looking at anywhere of where this company should be trading at about $40 to $54. Using that same line of thinking and that same per patient evaluation. So, hugely fundamentally, I mean, this is like very undervalued stock. It's trading right now. I think the current price is at 12.66. But we're kind of in this same range of like 12 to 13 to $14, anywhere in there. I mean, you're getting this stock at a steal. So that's my spiel on that. Now, in terms of the short interest and all that good stuff that everybody's into, the short squeeze. Let me pull this up real quick. So I need to get to my main screen. All right, there we go. So actually, we'll get to this CLOV chart first since I have it up. So basically, here's that run up we were talking about, right? $28. And, we kind of came down, consolidated, hit as low as $11, came back as high as 15. And we're just kind of trading in this little channel here. But the RSI is still looking pretty strong. I mean, we're still above 50. MACD is yet to cross over. I think we're going to need a couple more green days, maybe even close above like 14 and 15, somewhere in that range for the MACD to really give us that true crossover. But this is a lagging indicator as it is. So, basically it's giving you information that we're already going to know. right? I mean, once we start trending upwards, get like 3 or 4 more green days in a row, I think we're all going to know that it's trending upwards. So, anyways, but we have found this new base, right? We didn't fall back down to 6. We're now trading sideways, consolidating, and I think this thing's ready to pop. I mean, once it doesn't even necessarily need a catalyst because of the next thing that I'm going to go over is how much more the cost to borrow is right now. So, first I'm going to start with, let's see here. The iBorrow desk, it has not updated yet today, so this information is from Friday. Um, but what we're looking at is a fee, borrow fee of 55%. I mean, it's basically, this is Thursday of last week, it was at 31%. Going back to like Monday and Tuesday of last week, it was even lower. So now it's all the way up to 55. We did see as high as 56. Shares available only 65,000. One thing that I want to point out though is this is information only from one broker lender. So I know there's been a lot of posts online and people are like, oh, there's only 65,000 shares available or there's 0 available or whatever it may be. But that's not the case. This is information that iBorrowDesk is pulling from one broker and they're using this to say, here's an example of what's probably available across the whole market, right? So this borrow fee is only from one broker. But now if we look at the Ortex data, kind of the important numbers that I'm looking at is shares on loan. So 48 million shares on loan as of this morning. We saw that number as high as 61 million before. So that means there's still at least probably, I would assume, maybe 13 million shares out there. Obviously, those numbers could change. They're not being borrowed right now, but that are probably available is what I'm looking at, because we saw this number get as high as 61 million. It's now trading at 48 million. And again, Ortex only pulls data from certain brokers. So you're not getting the full picture, but it does paint a pretty decent picture for us. The short interest is still above 40%. It's still one of the highest shorted stocks on the market. Utilization's at 100. Okay, so that's basically telling us that, the amount of shares that are being borrowed, these 48 million shares, they're being used. Okay, so people are grabbing them and they're actually selling them into the market. But I would imagine that this number is still it's still probably somewhere around here, and there's still probably like 10 million shares that could be borrowed from one of these brokers, one of these lenders. Cost to borrow is now at 19. This is an average. This isn't the actual number, but it did go up, like we saw on the iBorrow desk, and like we're seeing here, it's up from where it was 7 days ago. It's actually up 178%. As we come down here and look at these numbers, I know they're a little bit smaller, but this is just like what's happening today. So we have seen a net return of 434,000 shares today, but the day's not over. But basically, this stock is still highly shorted. And then some of these other numbers, which are absolutely insane. So this is, again, they're taking data from multiple vendors, right? And so the lowest interest rate that anyone's charging right now to borrow these shares is 11%. The highest right now is 160%, but the average is 65%. So it's pretty damn expensive to borrow this stock, and that's what's going to make people want to buy back out and return their shares, get out of their short positions. Is this expense? If you remember, I've said this multiple times. It costs us nothing to hold the shares. We can hold the shares and just hold on to them forever, but it costs the short sellers daily these interest rates, and so they're going to eventually bleed out if we continue to hold. The other thing that I did notice, and some other people pointed out, is even though this number was reduced, like right now there's only 48 million shares on loan. If we go ahead and look at this, is the Nasdaq reporting of when these big hedge funds have to report what they're actually short. CLOV has been increasing at every 15 days on every reporting deadline. The most recent one, 41 million is what was reported, 41.4, and the time before that was 41.27. Time before that, 40.46. So it's continuing to grow, and we know that all this stuff probably isn't being reported accurately either. So all good information. The only other thing that I wanted to cover here was basically this days to cover number because I've seen some posts and maybe some misunderstandings in it. The days to cover is basically based off of volume. So, and I know I've talked about that before on the stream, but we want to see a larger days to cover. So if there's 48 million shares sold short out there and volume throughout the day is, trading at 300 million, 400 million, 500 million volume for the day, that is an easy way for shorts to get in there and cover in the middle of all that volume. That's why sometimes it's better when volume dries up. I think the important thing to remember is, if we have big volume days and we're going green, everything's going great. If we see volume drop off and we're going red, that means it's probably just short sell volume, and it's actually helping the squeeze because everything's drying up. People are holding their shares and volume's drying up, which is going to make it harder for those short sellers to cover when it's time to cover. The times when you really, I would say, start getting nervous in these terms of things is the exact opposites, right? Big volume days with red candles pretty much is telling you that people are selling. Um, you know, Low volume days with green candles, it's kind of like low volume days with red candles. It's just, I mean, low volume with the green candle is probably more of a bearish indicator, but I don't think it's as bad right now. But we also haven't seen those anyways. So I'll pull this up one more time, and this is what I'm talking about. This volume drop off here, these last couple weeks, it's all been kind of red candles. We've been going downwards, but not with a lot of volume behind it. On our big run-ups, we saw these nice big green candles. That's bullish. That means that's a good sign. That means that there's better days to come. It means there's people buying this stock. So regardless, I'm in on CLOV. I'm still in. I'm holding, and I think that this new base level that we've kind of found at 12 is going to help us propel on this next run up. I mean, hopefully we go up higher. We pass 28. We get into that $30, $40 range, and then maybe we'll drop back down and consolidate somewhere in the 20s, and just continue to kind of step up and establish new bases. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm really excited about this stock, and hope you're enjoying the videos. I'm about to go live in about 15 minutes here as we approach power hour, and I also go live stream every day from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. If you haven't already, check out the CLOV subreddit. It's r/CLOV. And also, there's a Discord, which I'll leave in the comments of the video, in the description down below. But join the Discord and get in there. There's a lot of people talking about this stock right now, but we want to get more. Okay, that's the ultimate goal. We want to get more. We want to build this community up and get more people to buy into this thing. All right, have a good day. Good luck in the markets, regardless of what stock you're in.